Hello, I'm Robby Yarber. I play trumpet with the Houston Jazz Orchestra. I'm here today to kind of walk you through Etude number 3. We're going to do some tips and tricks for this song. And yeah, so there we go. So at the very beginning of this etude, this gives us a very good chance to show off our style, okay? And it's a samba, so we don't want to make it come off a little too swing. We want to make sure we kind of lock in that style. And for example, you don't want to play it too straight and right on the beat. So here's what that sounds like. We don't want it to sound that straightforward like that. We want it to be a little bit more laid back. It's just a tiny little difference, but it seems to make a huge difference. And we get a chance several times in the etude to kind of really solidify in that laid back samba groove. Starting at measure 8, there's a section in here, the descending line. We get a chance to really kind of solidify in that groove one more time, especially if we kind of lay back just a little bit. Kind of pull it back, not so on top of the beat. And I am articulating every single one of those notes there. You'll find it in some places in the etude I chose to not do the exact articulation that's right there. For instance, going from measure 4 to measure 5. I tend to slur that a little bit, but I'm not swinging that. Hear the difference? I don't want to swing measure 5 on. I want to still kind of lay back a little bit, even though I'm slurring. So tricky lines. Going in from measure 4 to measure 5, there's that descending line alternating the slurred and tongued, okay? Now, if you look at measure 5, it is all tongued there. They're all tongued. I don't necessarily want to tongue there. I feel that I can get a little bit more style if I don't. So let me demonstrate what I'm talking about. I do play measure 4 correct, though. So here's slow. So I am slurring measure 5. Do it one more time. And then fast. If I tongue it, I feel that it feels a little too square. So here's what it sounds like tongued. So I tongued it and then I slurred it. I like the slurred better. So let's move on. Back at measure 9, 10, and 11, here's another really, really strong chance to give us that laid back feel. We don't want to be right on top of the beat like we talked about a minute ago. We can still be laid back. So here's what that sounds like. As opposed to, it's just a slight difference, but it really makes the etude kind of lock in. One of the trickiest parts, I guess, that everyone's going to kind of have a problem with typically in this etude is going to be starting from measure 14, I guess, down to measure 19. So 14 and 19, this is the tricky section. I can guarantee you this is probably going to be one of the cuts of your etude, depending on what your room or where you're from. So one of the things that I like to do, and I'll demonstrate on measure 14, okay, is it's called the rule of 9. It was kind of recommended to me when I was an undergrad. It's where you play the same thing, play it 9 times. If you can't play it 9 times in a row without mistake, can't really play it. So measure 14, I'll start really, really slow. And then kind of really speed up into tempo as you're doing it if you need to. It's the same thing in those lines in measure 17. Go slow. Kind of the same thing, get the idea. I definitely apply that concept through pretty much everything that I play all the time, but especially in these etudes when they have to be basically perfect if you plan on making it. Let's go ahead and look at the all-state cut now. So going down, all-state cuts, the little asterisk, the last 2 lines of this etude. Brian Fincher talked about this in etude number 1, where you want to play it down the octave a few times and really make sure that you have it in your ear. Some of these etudes are kind of tricky on the notes they go. So try that several times. It is low. This state cut isn't too high like etude number 1, but there's a couple things in there accidental wise that will kind of throw you if you're not really locking into those pitches. So I'll tell you right now that one of the things that threw me on this etude at the very beginning of this was the last line. And by the way, this gives you another chance to show off your groove. Okay, but this is the last line here, looking at the last 2 measures. So I'll play the last line. That A sharp going there, I missed that several times and it took me a while to realize that, oh, it doesn't sound right because I was playing a wrong note. Okay, let me try that one more time and show you what I'm talking about. This is the last line. And it goes back to the A natural without the mistake. One more time. And it kind of goes back to the A natural after the A sharp there. That's basically everything in this etude. There's a couple other little things, but if you apply those same concepts that we talked about throughout the whole etude, you're going to be golden. So that's pretty much it. So best of luck to you in this competition. Happy practicing. Remember, take it slow. Don't start full tempo. Take it slow. And yeah, good luck. Thank you.